Women constitute more than half of the people living with HIV AIDS, and many in these situations are being infected because of poverty and early marriages, as many in that situations have little option but to adopt to situations that put them at risk of new infections. Such is the case of Terry, not her real name. Being an orphan, she had few options after dropping out of school. She began working as a house help where she met her now husband, who was a casual worker in the neighborhood. He married her when she was barely 15 years old.
Tulikutana Nairobi, mimi nikifanya kazi ya nyumba. So ndio akanichukua, akaniweka kwa nyumba.
Nimeolewa 2005.
Mzee akaanza kuwa mgonjwa 2008. Akaenda hosi, lakini results mimi hakuniambia. So hiyo 2008 nikashika mimba. Of course ukiwa na mimba lazima uende upimwe HIV. Kenda nikapima HIV, nikapatikana niko nayo. Okay, at first sikukubali. At 15 mimi sikuwa najua chochote, and then life venye ilikuwa ngumu. So ilibidi nikae tu hapo.
Her first pregnancy, as in the case of many, made her to realize that she was HIV positive.
The PMTCT, they always focus on getting children who are negative. Immediately we notice that you are pregnant, they do a test at the first visit. If you happen to be HIV positive, they put you on immediately. And now we have the answer, sasa. They put you on medication immediately.
She fully adhered to her medication, hoping to do away with mother-to-child infection.
Nenye nilimeza dawa vizuri na mtoto alikuvenye, lakini nilipitia operation. Nilioperatiwa. So mtoto after 6 weeks mtoto akakuja kapimwa, kapatikana ako sawa.
But the beauty of PMTCT is once you start the medication, within 1 month, the virus is able to be suppressed at that time.
In her case, Phenny Awiti, a 27-year-old mother of 2, knew about her status in high school.
I'm HIV positive, so I realized that I was positive in Asumbi Girls High School. There's this organization that came to our school and they were giving a soda and bread, and as usual, I'm such a foodie.
She responded to the call of blood donation, and as is the custom, one has to be tested just before the process.
While at the counseling room, this counselor, I remember, she was our school nurse, so she asked me, have you ever had a boyfriend? And I said no. Have you ever tested before for HIV? I said no. And so she told me that double line is positive and single line is negative. And then at long last she tests me, and then the results are back, and she's like, okay, you mentioned that you don't have a boyfriend. I said, yeah, I don't have a boyfriend. Okay, fine, your results are positive. It means that you're HIV. Your results are double line. Remember how we said it? I told her, yeah, it means that I'm positive. So, it didn't sink to me that I'm positive at that time.
The news from the doctor came as a surprise to her, since that's what she least expected.
Oh my God, this is happening. I'm positive. I remember for the first time, food slipped off my hands. I never let food just go like that,
She decided to share with her then best friend about her status. Unfortunately, it became the talk of the school. That was the first time she experienced stigma.
I went to serve Gideri, and then on the counter while I was queuing, I hear these group of girls saying that that's why she's so fat. She takes those drugs. I'm like, okay, did I hear it right? Did my story leak,
Being an orphan and the last born in their family, her sister was called by the school administration so as to be informed about Phenny's condition. She is the one who broke the news to her, the secret that the family had kept away from her for 16 years.
My sister came, and that's when she told me that I got infected from my parents long ago, and no one really had the courage to tell me that I'm positive, but they all knew that I was positive. So this was so traumatic. It even became worse for me because I felt betrayed and disappointed by my family.
She was introduced to medication which she fully adhered to, such that by 2012 her viral load was totally suppressed, meaning that she couldn't infect someone else.
I remember being rejected with about 15 men. Yes, I would be telling them about my HIV status over and over and over again after some, of course, serious chat. And they would say, from being called baby to being called sister in Christ. When I was just about to give up, I got this negative guy who really loved me with my status. So we came back to our facility where I take my meds. And these counselors, as usual, were so supportive. So they advised him that, if she's been taking her meds very well, then she cannot infect you with the virus.
Just as the specialist had told them, Phenny never infected her partner. They ended up with 2 HIV-negative children. Unfortunately, the relationship never lasted.
We had issues with my guy, and then we had to separate because he became so unfaithful. And now when he's unfaithful, it means that he might actually get infected by someone who is not taking their meds, and then he will come and reinfect me, and he'll even blame me for infecting him, which was not the case here. So I sat down. In as much as it was so hard, I had to let go.
On May 5th, 2017, she decided to go public about her status using her social media platforms. Her major aim was to respond to her admirers' advances once and for all, not knowing the impact that her move would make in the society.
So I just went and said, you know what, yeah, I'm positive and all that. I started narrating my story, and I was shocked. I think I had 100 followers. Yeah, I was so shocked, and I said, wow. My story started being shared over and over and over again. I remember my story being shared over 3,000 times. I was like, okay, is HIV this much of a big deal? It's 2017,
At that point, she decided to become an activist, creating awareness in regards to HIV/AIDS due to the shocking number of people coming out to seek her guidance on the same.
I started now becoming a HIV activist, sharing, and the more I shared, the more I was like, okay, this is really affecting people here. And of course, the people who are mostly affected were women who are HIV positive and pregnant. I would get so many inboxes of, where do you take your meds from? I direct them to this facility. They feel stigmatized in their facilities,
In the process of her activism, Phenny found love, and they look forward to a great future together in the world of HIV/AIDS activism.
Something so special about this guy that maybe I would say is that he's also HIV positive, and he's really been so supportive about it. It's just that I still do not know how to approach it between me and him.
This is her message to those living with HIV/AIDS.
As a person living with HIV, and especially as a woman, strongly believe in yourself. Strongly believe that whatever decision you're making is for your own good, and it's the right one, and that you're the right person to make this decision, and you're so beautiful in it, And don't compare yourself with other people, because our situations are all unique.
It is possible to prevent mother-to-child infections if mothers know their HIV status, but the recent findings show that 53% of the 1.6 million people living with HIV/AIDS are unaware of their status in spite of the introduction of self-testing kits. And now, the big question is, do you know your HIV status? Lydia Okeo, KUTV, Nairobi.